get real. Do you ever wake up and feel like no matter what you do, it's never enough? Like you've worked hard, played by the rules, but here you are feeling drained, unfulfilled, and just wandering around like, is this all life has to offer? Just that feeling of, I thought I was the best parent I could be. I thought I was the best friend I can be. I thought I was the best partner I can be. And still, it doesn't feel like enough. Maybe you're constantly putting everybody first, and you're convinced that you don't have time or resources to focus on your own happiness. Sound familiar? If so, today's video is for you because we're about to break the barriers that are standing between you and the life you were designed to live. Happy Self Love Sunday. I am Tarnisha Mosas, your host of Self Love Sundays with Sass. I am your vision and empowerment coach who comes every single Sunday so we could talk about all the ways in which we can better our best. And I've been in your shoes. I used to wake up, oh my God, every morning feeling like I was on autopilot, going through the emotions, checking off the boxes, barely hanging on, smiling when I didn't want to smile, seeming strong because everybody thought I was the strong friend. And the worst part is, I felt guilty even thinking about wanting more because I've been taught that as long as everyone else has what they need, and they were happy, that should be enough. And also, it was a lot of guilt from being raised in the church. And I want to be clear: this is not about blaming the church or anything. I believe that human beings have free will, and whatever they preach, they preach. But it was always like gratitude, be grateful, be grateful, be grateful for the little things, be grateful for what you have. And so for me, wanting more, it felt like, something was wrong with that. Like I wanted to, have more, be more, do more. And it felt wrong because of the way that I was reared. But here's the truth. That's survival mode. Okay. Always being in survival of things. Okay. And it's not enough to just survive, especially now in 2025. You deserve a life where you are thriving, where we're not talking about everything is going to be unicorns, rainbows, sunshines all day, every day. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, though, is being able to have a mindset of feeling enough, being enough, having enough, and being able to put you first without the guilt. Did you know there's a study that was done by Gallup? 85% of people worldwide dislike their jobs. 85%. And nearly 60% of women over 40 report feeling unfulfilled in their personal lives. Like they're just out here waking up every day on autopilot, doing for their children, doing for everybody, and just as unhappy, and no one knows it. No one knows what they're feeling. That was me. But that's not living, it's existing. But I have good news. I have good news. It doesn't have to stay that way. I need you to hear me right now, today, and I even want you to put it in the comments. You have the power to rewrite your story. I'm going to say it again. You have the power to rewrite your story. The barriers aren't always obvious, and I get that. They show up in habits, in your beliefs, in your mindsets that they feel so normal, you don't even question them. They feel so, like, I'm gonna break that down for you. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's the overthinking and perfectionism, right? You tell yourself, I'll start when everything is perfect. Or I'll start when I have all the equipment. I'll start my podcast when I have everything written down. But guess what? Perfection doesn't exist, and you just have to get started. If you go back and look at me from 2017 to now, things look different, right? I had to realize that A, I had to do it scared. B, it was never going to be perfect. And C, it's going to always be a journey of learning in pivoting and in growing. So just be like Nike and do it. I know I say that, and I know for you, if you're watching this, you may feel like, well, that may be easy for you. I'm going to tell you that it's easy for you too. It's easy for you too, but that overthinking is going to keep you in analysis paralysis. So you're never going to take action. That's why you're not taking action now. You overthink everything. And I'm going to say this right now. Let me give my disclaimer. I'm not here to tell you who to believe in. That's not my job. I do, however, will say that the foundation of everything is a relationship with God. And I also will tell you that that paralysis, that thing that keeps you stuck, That is to me a form of the enemy not allowing you to move forward, and you giving into it, saying, you know what, you're right. And I had to say to myself when this was happening with me, but if I'm so strong and I can do everything and I'm every woman and I'm so Miss Independent, then how am I allowing this to hold me back? How am I allow this feeling, right? Whatever you want to call it, this spirit, I don't care what you call it, this energy to hold me back. Because that's exactly what that is. If you didn't know, I'm going to awaken you to that today. That's the thing that's telling you that you're not good enough and that you can't speak and you can't own your own business, and you're never going to get where you want to be in that job, and you just have to sit there and you just have to settle. That's what that is. Okay? But you don't need all the answers to start. All you need is just to take the first step. That's it. That's the first thing. So when I'm talking about breaking this thing down in what feels normal, and most people don't get it, it's normal for people to overthink and sit in perfection. They don't even realize it. But they'll look up a year later and the thing that they wanted to do, they never did. They'll look up a year later in the place they wanted to be in their heart, in their mind, their spirit. They're not. They'll look up a year later and the book still isn't written. They'll look up a year later and the business still isn't started. They'll look up a year later and the podcast isn't done. They'll look up a year later and the love that they so desperately desire they don't have. They'll look up a year later and the relationship they wanted to have with their children, or they wanted to have children, is not done. Why do you think that is? Today is the day I want you to start to think about it. Why do you think that is? Today, and they'll look up and they're still in isolation. Why do you think that is? And this is why I want to break this down. So the first thing is the overthinking and perfectionism. And the second thing is, oh my God, how many times have you waited for someone else to validate your decisions? Come on now. Your partner, your friends, your boss, your community, your society, your children. How many times have you waited for somebody to validate your decisions? Mm-mm-mm. Let me tell you something. This is a hard truth that I had to learn. A hard truth that I had to learn. No one is coming to give you permission to live your life. That's your job. No one is coming to give you permission to live your life. That's your job. That's why it feels tough. That's why it feels hard. That's why it feels like you're never getting to where you want to get to. You're still waiting for somebody to give you permission. Well, here's the thing. Here's what I'll do for you today. Here's what I'll do for you today. How about this is your sign? This is your sign. You now have permission to start designing a life that you love, so you can start loving the life that you live. And this is your sign to rewrite the rules. This is your sign to get into the whatever journey it is that it is for you, whether it is to have love, to be loving, whether it is to get your health in order, your wealth in order. This is your sign. If it's to start the business, I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm not telling you you're not going to cry. I'm not telling you that it's all like, again, that it's going to be happiness all day, every day. That's not what I'm telling you. And what I'm saying to you, it's going to be worth it when you feel fulfilled. When I come and I speak to you, when I'm working with my clients, you have no idea how when I turn on the video, our Zoom calls in the morning, and they come on, how much I light up from the inside out. And I'm still like that feeling. I want you to have it. I want you to have it. But it starts by you understanding that the way you've been operating is a program, and we're all like computers, right? We're all operating on some programming system, and I don't want to take credit for that. Me and my girlfriend Tiffany Smith, who I love to death, she's another coach. She's a coach who helps moms with grief. And we were talking about the programming that we all operate on. And I was saying to her, like, how do we get out of this program, right? Because we don't even realize it, we don't even see it sometimes. And we were talking about how the people you are around are the people who help you see the spots that you can't see. Call them blind spots, whatever's in the way. You can't even see it because it feels normal to you. That's why I get on here and I talk about the power of community and why it's so important. You can't even see it. You can't even see. I know so many people that walk around. I don't need anybody. All this, that, and the other, and they're the most needy people. They don't even see it. They don't even see it. How many times people walk around feeling like, oh no, no, I'm so nice and people love me, and people are walking around eggshells around you, feeling like you're so fragile. They can't even think and be themselves around you. And you don't know it. But today we're going to break it. Right? That overthinking and perfectionism, never lies with that crew. Waiting for permission. No more. I need you to type right now. I am no longer waiting on anyone to give me permission. It is okay to sit with God. Please don't get me twisted, but I'm talking about a human, okay? It's okay. And next, ooh, people pleasing. You spent your whole life being a caregiver, the fixer, the peacemaker. I'm going to make sure everybody comes together. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to show up for everybody. But I want to be honest right now. Where has that left you? Probably where it left me, feeling exhausted, feeling overlooked, feeling invisible. I had to learn. I had to learn the hard way when I was showing up for everybody. And there was times in my life where I was suffering and nobody knew it. I was suffering. I would stand right in front of the very people who said that they loved me, and I always showed up for them. And they just could not show up for me. And I had to learn, well, baby girl, you're not showing up for yourself. They can't see you because you don't see you. And that's not on them, that's on you. And sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow when we're in that mode. But I swallowed that pill and I had to realize that prioritizing myself wasn't selfish, it was necessary. It was necessary. And when I started prioritizing myself first, even because I was a coach, not part, and I had to understand like, why wasn't I feeling the way or getting the results that, and I was like, oh, I get it. Because I wasn't in a place where I was living what I was teaching in the beginning. Oh, but baby, when I got it, you best to believe. Now I only speak and teach from a place of which I have walked. Because now when you speak and teach from a place of the journey, you understand the feelings and the emotions that come along with that. And so you're able to help walk people through it. I've walked this road. I wrote that book. That's why it says find your way, 7 ways to love and heal yourself. I had to walk that journey out first. And that's why I understand you. And I also know that you think, what if I try and fail? What if I try and it doesn't work out? What will people think? What will they say? Maybe you don't have the parents that, show up for you or tell you you're doing good or pat you in the back. So you're afraid. I get it. But I have a question for you. What if you did it and you succeeded? What if you did it and you succeeded? What if you did it and you learned lessons along the way? I'm not telling you that being in business is always easy. I'm not telling you that I haven't had things not work out. But I learned. I had to learn. I'm still learning now how to grow a YouTube channel, all those things. Sometimes it feels overwhelming. I would be lying if I would say that anything different. And yet I'm still here. Why? Because I understand that sometimes until you get the courage, you got to feel the fear and do it anyway. What people say, they're gonna talk about me anyway. What will they think? They're gonna think something negative anyway, but because it has nothing to do with you, it's who they are. That's on them. But here's the thing. I need you to understand failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of the journey. If nobody else didn't tell you that, I need you to hear that today. That's why we get to pivot. Every time you feel like something is failing, you're learning, you're growing, and you're getting closer to what you want. You will never get closer to it, though, if you don't start. You will never get closer to it, though, if you keep quitting, if you keep stopping and starting all over again. Keep going. Through the tears, through the fears, through the limiting beliefs, right? And this is how we're going to break free. Because I know you're saying, so how do I move past these barriers? It starts with the one thing that no one wants to do. No one wants to hear. It starts with shifting the way that you think. And that's mindset. It is the very thing. So here's how. First thing, you're going to have to start to challenge your beliefs. You're going to have to ask yourself, who told me I couldn't have the life that I wanted? Who told me that I couldn't be who I desired to be? Who crushed my dreams? Who told me? Because see, I understand something. The enemy sends people, sends spirits, sends energies because they know how great you are. So what is the recording playing in the back of your ear that says I'm so strong and independent, I don't need anybody. There's nobody that's gonna help me. There's nobody that's going to be there for me. Who it's a fairy tale. Girl, you must be dreaming. Was it your environment? Was it the kids on the playground bullying you? Was it your parents? Was it your abuser? Was it the person who victimized you? Was it the person that touched you? When I tell you I speak from experience, I promise you, I do. And I remember the feeling, the being 13 years old, and the person that you thought loved you stripped you, and not having anybody there to help pick you up. And we grow up and we become in our 30s and our 40s, and we think we got it all together and don't realize that critic is the one that's in the back of our ears. The one who was sent to try to destroy you, but you're still here. So I need you right now to ask yourself, who told me that? And is that the truth? And then I want you to write down the beliefs that are holding you back. Because the only way that we can start to work through it is to understand what is it that I'm really feeling and what is it that I'm really thinking and what is it I really believe. The only way to replace it, because that's what we have to do, you have to replace those with empowering beliefs. But the only way to do that, my dear, is you have to be honest about what you really feel when nobody else is around. What do you really think? I need you to ask yourself why 7 times to get to the root. Okay? So we have to write that down so we can start to replace those beliefs with empowering beliefs. That's the first thing into moving past and breaking free of these barriers. All right. The second thing is you have to start to set boundaries. Oh, this is a big one. Ooh, for my people pleasers, this is a big one. You're going to have to start saying no to things that drain you. Every place they want you to be is not where you're supposed to be. Everything they want you to do is not what you're supposed to do. What are you supposed to do for you? What is in alignment with your heart? What is in alignment with your spirit? What is in alignment with what your purpose here to do? You have to start saying yes to the things that fulfill you, the things that matter. And I know it feels hard because I used to feel like that too. Because I was thinking, well, I don't want to shut people out. I don't want them to think I don't love them. It's not about that, but it's about protecting your peace. Don't you think it's time to protect your peace? I remember I was in a relationship, right? Great guy. I'm not here to put anybody down, but he was so much drama all the time. And I remember when I broke up, with him, I just remember this feeling of peace coming over me. And he called me one day because something tragic had happened in his family. And I didn't recognize the number because I just, I took the number off the phone. So I just answered it. I didn't know who it was. And he was like, you don't remember, and it was just like, he was going on and on. And everything in my body was like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I walked away from this because it felt like chaos. And I'm not telling you that relationships don't trigger you, and most relationships will. That's what, but when it starts to break down your peace and it's drama all over the place, no ma'am, no sir. No ma'am, no sir. No ma'am, no sir. Mm-mm. No, you got to protect your peace. If you're walking and you're feeling anxious, or if you're doing it to get love and then when you walk away you feel empty, that's your cue. That's your cue. It's time to say no. And then next, okay, I want you to take small, bold actions. Remember, please remember, you don't have to try to overhaul your entire life overnight. I tried that, right? That's me. I'm like, forget this. I'm tired. Enough is enough. I'm getting up every morning. I'm crying. I don't feel good. I'm drained. I'm exhausted. I need help. Nobody's here to help me. I just remember feeling like that. And I'm like, forget this. Like, that's it. Overnight, changing everything. Child, I was like, okay, that's not it. All right, that's not it. That's when, and then you feel overwhelmed. So you got to start small. And it's the same thing, right? So think about if you were going on a health journey. You want to start small, replacing, say, for example, things that all white products with brown, right? White flour, white rice. Maybe change it for wheat flour and brown rice. Not if you're gluten, if you have gluten uh, allergy, then you don't do that, right? If you need to go gluten free, it's different. I'm not here giving you advice. I'm just trying to get you to understand where I'm coming from, right? You want to start working out. Don't go outside and start running if you haven't walked anywhere, okay? Like you want to start this off as if you were a baby, right? Baby start by inching a little bit, rocking back and forth until they can start crawling, until they can start trying to stand, and then they're wobbly, right? Before they start walking. I want you to think about this breaking free from these barriers the same way and give yourself grace, okay? And understand that the journey is of 1,000 1,000 miles over and over and over again. So what that means is every level you're going to have to do this over again, over and over again. But the beautiful part about it is once you start to get used to it and you understand it, it will be easier for you. Okay? So just one small, bold action that aligns with your vision. And I know that you have a vision. And if the vision isn't clear, it's because you're all over the place. You're doing and going and being and pushing and and it shouldn't feel like that either. I want to be clear. I want to be clear that throughout this journey, it's not always going to be easy. But if you constantly feel like you got to kick and push down the door, that's not it, boo. That's not it. That's not it. Okay. It may feel like a storm, but there's peace in the storm. I hope that really makes sense to you because that's what it feels like sometimes to me. It feels like everything is whirling around me as I'm trying to build this business and I'm working through how do I grow my YouTube channel and how do I, gain more clients and marketing and advertising and sales, right? And in the midst of all of that, it's me. And I feel a sense of peace, knowing that I'm going to take it one step at a time, right? I'm going to work on understanding how to do ads. I'm going to work on understanding, marketing. Who can I hire? Where can I hire? Things like that. So I want you got to start taking it one step at a time. So don't try to overhaul your life, throw everything out. Some people are like that though. My dad was like that. It's like when he made up his mind to do it, it was just that was it, right? There are some people who could do that, but if that's not you, that's okay. Take one small step, and maybe it's sign up for that course you've been thinking about, or finally having a hard conversation that you've been avoiding. Maybe it's a hard conversation with yourself that you've been avoiding. Maybe it's finally, picking up the camera and starting to speak because you know that there's something deep down inside of you that you want to get out and you know that your testimony will help someone. Maybe it's that. And don't think about the growth, right? In the beginning, just think about, if it's one person. I had to tell myself that. Like, even if it's one person that watches this video and gains something from it, I've done that. I need you to say that to yourself today, to stop overthinking it. Perfectionism, to me, it's really like, how can I say this? When you're seeking for something that doesn't exist, it will never be. It doesn't exist. There's no such perfect thing in or being. I know you've heard it time and time again. So maybe make this the time that you stop hearing it and finally let it sink into you. Because a lot of us, it's not the information, it's the action that we take with the information that we're given. It's content everywhere. But what are you doing? Is it going to be the day where you step in and step up and start to do what you're listening to? When you start breaking these barriers, I'm telling you, you're going to reclaim your power. You stop living on autopilot and start living with intention. Oh, that pockets of joy that you just feel. Think about it. Every barrier you overcome is a step closer to the life that you were designed to win. And if you don't know that you were designed to win and that you are a winner, you're living and breathing. That's your sign. Every day that you're above ground, that's your sign. If you need the signs today, it's it. This isn't just about personal fulfillment either. It's about setting an example for everyone around you. When you show up as your best self, you give permission, give others permission to do so. You give your kids, you want your children to thrive in this world. Show up as your best self. Moms and dads, you want your children to go out and set this world ablaze. Why don't you do it? Show them. Give them permission. I'm giving my children permission to be authors. I'm giving them permission to be speakers. I'm giving them permission to love the Lord. I'm giving them permission to be loved. I'm giving them permission to give love and to show love. I'm giving them permission to design a life that they want to win. I'm giving them permission because I'm stepping into it, and you can do the same exact thing. Give them permission. Now, does that mean they're going to totally follow it? No. Does that mean that they're not going to stop speaking to you? No. Does that mean that they're going to be pissed, not going to be mad at you or pissed off at you? No. They're going to do all those things. And yet they'll still see though. And they'll still know though. Because once you see a thing, you can't unsee it. Once I went to my coach's house and I seen her living in, I want to say that her house is like 10,000 square feet. And I can't unsee it. I can't unsee the rooms of when she had women in there and she's talking and she's helping them break free. I can't unsee it. That's why I can't stop. I can't unsee it. I know it's possible. That's what I'm trying to get to you today. When you break these barriers, you're going to start to know what's possible for you. And then everybody around you is going to start to know it's possible. My friends know it's possible because they see me. My friends who never thought about these things. They know it's possible. The people in my community know it's possible because of the way that I show up. It's possible to bury two sons and still have joy. It's possible. Why? That's me. It's possible to start a life on welfare and start to winning and still be an author. Why? Because that's me. It's possible for someone to try to steal your innocence at 13 years old and for you to feel like your parents don't love you and still be able to be here and still thrive. It's possible because that's me. And I need you to know right now, despite whatever the story was, despite the beginning, it has nothing to do with what you can change now and where you can go. And I know it isn't easy. Breaking everything down that happened requires courage. And let's be honest, it's scary. It was scary for me to speak my truth, knowing that my mother and my father and even the guy who touched me, they have a different truth. It's heartbreaking, but it's real. My kids have a different truth than me. That's why when they say, "Hey, mom, do I remember you did this?" And I'll be like, "Wow, I don't remember that." But that's okay. I'm not here to change their story. I'm here to speak mine and to help you change yours. But let me ask you this: what's scarier? What's scarier? Staying where you are or taking a chance on a life you've always wanted? Can you afford to be in the same place you are this time next year? Can you afford to be in the same place you are this time next month? The time is going to pass either way. A year from now, you could be in the same place, feeling the same feeling of unfulfillment, of unhappiness, of unhealthiness, of feeling broke or being broke, looking at everybody else, looking at the government and who's elected. But what are you going to do with these next 4 years? Where are you going to be? Because you have an opportunity to live a life that lights you up, that makes you excited every morning. But it's a choice. It's a choice. The people who come to my community in the morning, they do their count. That was a choice. You have a choice. What are you going to choose? To keep crying every morning, to cry in the shower, to drink it away, sex it away, to isolate. Those are choices. You may not think it, but I'm here to tell you it is. What are you going to choose? Let me know in the comments if you're ready to start choosing you. This week, I want you to take the first step in breaking down your barriers. Identify one belief, habit, or mindset. What are you thinking? What emotion is holding you back? What's that thing, that record that's playing over and over in your head? Over and over in your head. Every time you get ready to take a step, every time you get ready to believe in love again, every time you get ready to call your sister or your parents or whoever that you're not speaking to for whatever reason, what is the thing that's holding you back? What do you think they're going to say? What is the worst fear? Because that's what that is. And I want to challenge you today. I want to challenge you to get it, write that down. So that when you, so here's the thing, because you can't heal what you're not real about. If you're ready to get real, let me know in the comments because I want to hear from you so I can support you on your journey. When I wrote my book, Design to Win, I wrote this because I know that there's so many people out there that don't believe that about themselves. So everything in there, from the strategies, the tools, everything to walk you through how to design your life, was the things that I walked myself through. Am I in perfectionism? No, because it doesn't exist. But I'm living and I'm loving and I feel so good. I'm walking in my calling. I'm in my obedience. I'm loving God and He's loving me. Feels so good. Does it mean I don't cry? No. Does it mean I don't have heartache? No. Does it mean sometimes I don't have stress? No. It means I have peace in the middle of the storm. And if you're ready to have your peace, ready to break through your barriers, then make today the day you decide to do so. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please, please, please like, share, subscribe. I'm going to say it every week. I'm looking to grow my YouTube channel this year. And let me know if there's anything that you want me to talk about. All year long, we're going to be talking about designing your life to win. I am so grateful for you today. Please, please, please don't forget. I know I keep saying it, to like, share, subscribe, share this out with anyone who you think needs to hear this today. And I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you next Sunday. Bye now.